This is the assembly and overview of what I call the Aristocrat. This is an arm-mounted Nerf crossbow that I designed from scratch. It is intended to be used with any size of Nerf ammo, which I find quite fancy indeed. Additionally, it assembles without any screws or glue, but you will need the following parts. To begin, of course, you will need every part in the file. Additionally, you will want to print 2 of the bow arm pieces here. They are identical in every way. And 2 of these bow arm pins here. Again, it's just a cylinder, identical in every way. Additionally, you will need 3mm diameter elastic paracord. Make sure it's the stretchy stuff. You can find this just about anywhere on Amazon for really cheap. I got all of this for $5, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. It's significantly more than you'll need. You will also need a length of string. A spool of string can be found, I don't know wherever spools of string show up, I suppose. Craft store, maybe? To strap this to your arm, you of course will need Velcro straps, or any other strap that suits your fancy. It's just to strap it to your arm. I found these at Ace Hardware for about $5, but I imagine you can find them just about anywhere else. They're fairly common, and you can get, again, quite more than you'll need for very cheap. You will also need a form of cutting implements to cut the paracord. Most people use scissors. In addition to these, there are some tools that you may prefer but won't necessarily need. Among them are a lighter, a scrap piece of filament to act similar to a crochet hook down the line, some forceps to aid you in the tying of some knots. You might like some sandpaper or a file to make sure the parts slide together very well, and a small hammer or other heavy implement for just firm and precise tapping. To begin assembly, you'll start by cutting a length of string. Make it fairly long. I don't exactly have any precise measurements for you, but as long as it's from the tip of your hand here to like some point there on your forearm, you should be pretty good, as long as it's long enough. We will take the string and we will thread it through the operational end of the device here. This is where the piece of filament may come in handy. If you thread that in the hole here, then you take your filament and stuff that in too. You slide it properly. You should, with any luck, which I don't seem to have, thread the filament through and out to the other end, and out comes the string as well. Take your tweezers or forceps and make sure that the string comes out the back end like so. In one end and out the other. Just like that. Next, obtain the trigger piece. You may want to sand or file some of the faces so that it slides together well and fits together smoothly. Anyways, you're going to want to take the string here and thread it through the furthest of the 2 holes like so. Go ahead and tie that into a secure knot. I'd offer you a knot tying tutorial, but I'm sure we know somehow how to tie a knot properly. And I'm sure many of you could have done it much faster than I. In any case, there we are. I'm going to trim some of the excess off of that. There we are. And there we go. After your trigger is tied onto the string, pull the string tight so that the trigger goes into the mechanism, like so. Make sure that even with the string attached, the trigger can still move freely. And then obtain the trigger bar piece. You're welcome to sand the faces of this piece so that, again, it slides together smoothly. But be wary of over-sanding in the middle here. This is where friction fits into the trigger, and I'd really rather it not fall out while I'm trying to use the device. That would be quite embarrassing. Anyways, on the trigger piece, there is this rectangle right here, next to the string hole. You're going to insert the trigger into the device, and then insert the trigger bar into that rectangular hole, like so. Here's a top view now, and it should look something like that. Very fancy indeed. With all of that in place, we turn our attention to the retaining arm and its pin. We simply place it like so, and insert the appropriate pin, and it should snap together fairly easily. The main body will grip the pin tightly, preventing it from falling out, and the hinge itself will grip it loosely, allowing it to flow freely. Cut a piece of paracord about this long from your finger down to like there on your forearm there, and apply a lighter to both ends to remove any fraying. Make sure it stays that way. And then we are going to take a loop here, make it pretty long. Then we are going to tie a knot into that loop. If you're having trouble, you can always make the loop a bit longer so that you have more than enough room to tie the knot. Just like so. Once you have that loop on the end of the paracord, we're going to thread the unlooped end through this hole on the retaining arm here, and hook this end on this hook on the side of the device. On the other side, we're going to pull this semi-tight so that it still has room to stretch but is still firm, and loop it around the other hook on the other end of the device. It's symmetrical, so it's right there. And mark where that is. We're going to then take that and tie another loop where that is. Once you have done that, you should end up with something that looks like this, which totally wasn't pre-assembled, trust me. In any case, when you thread it through that hole and hook it onto both ends of the device here, it should have the effect of providing some elastic tension to this arm here. I hope you've had fun making that part, because we're about to make it again, with slightly different dimensions. This time, when you make your loop, you're going to hook it on this end of the trigger bar, and then, if it will stay, you will wrap it around the device, like so, and hook it onto the other hook on the other end of the trigger bar, like so. I won't over-explain how to tie those loops. If you've gotten this far, you should be adequate at it by now, and so this is the result. Next, we'll be attaching the bow arms. They're fairly straightforward, not exactly brain surgery. Simply place one into place there, take its appropriate pin, press down, and you may want to tap it down with your appropriate tapping tool. Next, we will be preparing the elastic cord that gives this thing its oomph. To begin, take one end of the elastic cord, cut it to about yay long, and tie a small knot right there at the end of it. Thread the cord with the knot at the end through one end of the bow arms, up, around, and through the other hole of the other bow arm, like so. Note that you will want to leave a little slack for this next step here, so that the elastic band can stretch all the way to the end where it needs to go down here. tie a loose knot with that slack in mind into this end of the bow arm here, and then test to see if you can prime the device by taking this elastic band and moving it all the way to the end there. That was very difficult for me to do. I think I've made this one a little too tight. So I will undo that knot and try again. Having found an acceptable length of which to tie your knot here, you can then trim the excess off of your paracord there and apply the flame. Next, we will assemble the straps to affix this to your arm. Start with 2 Velcro straps like so. Thread one through the other like so. And join them together like so, effectively making a double length strap. Procure a convenient second double length strap from off camera, and then turn to the device. Take one of your straps, making sure that the soft side is facing towards this back plate here, and thread both ends through their appropriate holes here and here. Like so, leaving the seam between the joints in the middle there. Once both straps are on the device, we will need to continue assembly after placing this on our arm. To do so, take each strap and lift it up like so, and take your arm and slide it underneath all of these. Almost makes you wish you had a third arm to assemble this onto your first arm. After this, tighten the straps and move them up to about your wrist, like so. The basic idea is that you will next take this end of the Velcro here and this end of the Velcro here and thread those through each other and tighten it. If you have a third arm, this is very easy. If you have a mouth, this is very hard to speak while doing this. It is the second I will attempt. Please forgive me if I do it off camera. Having successfully used my teeth as a vice, it has dawned on me that Velcro doesn't really taste very good and that I should probably find a different strap orientation to use so that I don't have to do that so often. A project for another time, perhaps. In any case, our attention now turns to the final part, the trigger ring. Now, I tried to make this as ergonomic as possible. However, the fact that humans have really strange dimensions and the fact that I have a disdain for all human flesh means that I might not have done the best job. Apologies in advance. In any case, slide the trigger ring onto your finger like so, and slide this device as far forward as you can onto your wrist comfortably. It must be comfortable, but also firm, because we don't want this sliding forward once we set the proper trigger length. Next, we will take the end of the string that we cut at the beginning to be more than the proper length, and we will thread it through the hole that your finger is not in. I should probably use the forceps for this. Now, it dawned on me while writing the script for this that I should specify which hole is the hole that your finger is not in. And then I should congratulate anybody on getting their finger on a hole this small. In any case, there we go. Next, what we will wish to do is tilt our wrists slightly up and pull the string tight. Take it around like so. And tie a knot as best we can, keeping the string as tight as we can, and keeping the knot as close as we can to the device. I know, a big ask, but you can pretty much get it done. Once you got a singular knot going, You might as well get a double knot going just to make sure it stays for longer than 30 seconds. Right. Let me take this bit and we can put it through here like so. And I am a professional knot tier. Definitely, I should get a college degree in knot tying because that sounds like something that exists. Anyways, there we are. This concludes our assembly of the Aristocrat. To operate the device, simply take your thumb and forefinger here, slide it on opposite ends of the device until that string falls into place back here. Then take your dart or Mega XL dart. What does Nerf come up with these days? Goodness gracious. Or really any other ammo type that takes your fancy there. And place it inside the retaining arm there. The retaining arm will flip up to accept any form of ammo. But for best results, use a normal dart or a Mega XL dart. To fire it, you may flick your wrist downwards and this string will go through to the device and pull the trigger. Or you can push on the trigger from the back here like so. From the start to the finish of this whole project, I actually thoroughly enjoyed myself despite not knowing what the heck I was doing. I've never used paracord before, didn't know how far it would stretch, didn't know the dimensions I need. I basically just sat down in Fusion 360 and got very lucky. I really hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, ridicule for not posting the download in the description, please let me know, and have a great day.